YouTube. What's up, baby? We back in this thing again for another review. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and today we're going to be talking about Stranger Things Season 4, Episode 5, entitled The Nina Project. Alright? So if you've been to this channel before, you already know how we do. We started off with a premise, 3 favorite scenes, the grade, and then we on to the next one, right? So again, Stranger Things Season 4, Episode 5, entitled The Nina Project. Alright. Now we pick up with on this one with Argyle, Will, and Mike and Jonathan, and they're still driving away from the little shootout that took place at, their house. They have the agent in the back of the car and he's been shot, so he's bleeding out. They're trying to stop the bleeding, but they can't. Before the agent ends up dying, he tells the kids they need to warn Dr. Owens of what happened, as well as he says something about Nina, and then also he tries to write down these digits, these numbers, but he can't because he ends up dying. And then from there, we go to the government soldiers, go through Joyce's house, because that's where the shootout took place. They go through the house to try to find some things out about Elle, just information on her, just whatever it may be. So that's what they're going through the house for. And then from there, we see Elle actually arrive to the facility with Dr. Owens. And we see that also at the facility that they're at, Dr. Martin is there as well. And when Elle sees Dr. Martin, she becomes uneasy, and because of her past and everything like that. But he tells her that he only wants to help, and because she feels uneasy about Dr. Martin, she tries to run away, but they won't let her. They end up injecting her with some medicine to put her to sleep, and then that's it for that time, for that scene. And then from there we jump to Jim, and we see him getting beat up, by the Russian guards, and then thrown back into a cell. This is not the camp. This is like a different cell. But the difference is, on this one, we see that in the cell with him, Antov is there as well. So he's been put into a cell himself, after Yuri snitched on him. And, so now Antov and Jim are both in a cell together. And then from there, we jump to Yuri, and he has Murray and Joyce on a plane, and he's about to take them somewhere, probably to the KGB. I don't know exactly where, but he's about to take them somewhere. And then from there, we see Eddie, and he's still at Rick's house, and he's just chilling out, whatever it may be. And he tries to reach out to Dustin, and but they do pick up the walkie, and then he's asking them for food or whatever it may be, because he's running out of food. So they say they'll work on it for him. And then we go to Max, and she's talking to Dustin and Nancy about what she saw in her when she was in that dream state, and she was actually drawing what she was going through, the red aura to the world, the buildings that were there, the pieces of the house that was there, and through that, Nancy ends up finding out that the house, the pieces that were there that she's drawing, that's actually, when you put the whole picture together, where they were was actually at Victor's house, but in the upside down realm of Victor's house. You know what I'm saying? So Um, then we go from there and we see Elle, and she's having some type of looping dream, like dream slash memory. She's having this memory that took place, basically the same memory that she had that keeps on looping in her head when she kills all the people or whatever. It's basically like it seems like that memory, but they need her to remember something in order to, I guess, get her powers back. So she's having this looping dream, and then there's this unknown doctor in it. I don't know his name yet, but there's an unknown doctor in it, and it seems like he's probably of importance, but we'll see. Um, and then Will, Jonathan, Mike, and Argyle, we jump to them, and they're burying the dead agent. Um, and then we find out that the agent was carrying this pen that didn't work, and so uh, Will ends up taking the I don't know if it was Will or Mike, but anyways, they take the pen and they open it up, and inside is the numbers that he was trying to tell them. So now they got a clue onto where, um, you know, possibly to help them get closer to L. And then we jump back to Jim and Antov, and they have a talk, and Jim is just telling them about like like I should have like not tried to contact Joyce, and I should have just left things how they are. Like I always thought that I was cursed, but it ends up being that I'm the curse. You know what I'm saying? Like he talks about how it wasn't them that needed him, he actually needed them, and he talks about being in the military, working with these certain chemicals, and everybody breathing it in, and then it having an effect on everybody after they were out of the military, and it kept them from having babies, whatever it may have been. He had a daughter. She was born healthy, but then eventually she fell to cancer, I believe it was, and he just blamed himself because he never told his wife that it could be a possibility that that we may not have a baby or something can happen to the baby, so he always felt bad about that. um but yeah, so he just basically spilling all the beans to Antov, and Antov is I'm sorry, Antonov is there to listen, and he does listen, and I thought it was pretty cool that he did hear him out, you know what I'm saying. Seems like maybe there will be some type of friendship between the two. um and then also we end up finding out from Antonov that there is actually a demigorgon at this facility, so we'll see how that plays out eventually. um and then we see that the agents that were working for Dr. Owens, they go to investigate Eddie's house, um, and they end up looking at the wall, like, or the ceiling where she got pushed against, and there's like this crack there, and I guess they kind of know something that's going on, so they tell Eddie's uncle to leave, and you're gonna end up staying somewhere else for a while, and we're going to be doing like investigating your house for a minute. So that's how that plays off. Um, then we see Chrissy's funeral, and at the funeral, we see Patrick has a vision while he's there. So obviously Vecna is still, after this dude, or still has this dude under his control, however you want to say it, right? Um, so after the funeral, Jason rounds up everybody, his basketball squad, and they end up just making these plans of like where to check for Eddie. And the dude Patrick that's getting that's having these visions of Vecna, he ends up telling him that, hey, check out, don't forget to check out Rick's place, because he was supposed to be in jail, but we heard from somebody that there's somebody at the house. So he's like, all right, yeah, we'll definitely check that out. And that's big trouble in Little China, because that's where Eddie's hiding out right now. So they found out where he's hiding out with just by chance, you know what I'm saying? But they still haven't went there yet, so they don't know that they're about to stumble onto him. So from there, um, Dustin and Nancy, Robin, Steve, they end up going to Victor's house, and they're and Max and Lucas, they end up going to Victor's house, and they're trying to look for clues about Vecna, because like I said, they end up finding out that where Vecna is in that dream world, that house is the exact same house that Victor has. But like I said, that one's in the regular realm and one's in the upside down realm, so they go there to try to figure out some things, piece some things together. um and then we see Joyce and Murray, and they try to find a way to get an upper hand on Yuri. So what they have planned is that Yuri can't hear anything right now because he's in a cheap plane and it's super loud and they're high up in the air. So their plan is to knock over these, it's like crates that are full with Jif peanut butter, and knock it over, and it's a glass. This is a glass, so they knock it over, bust it, get one of the glass shards, cut themselves free, and then hold Yuri hostage and make him fly them out to wherever they want to go. So that's their plan. And then we see from there that Elle, she's still stuck in this looping dream. We find out exactly what the Nina machine is. The Nina machine is what they put Elle in order for her to relive this memory slash dream, and in order for her to possibly reawaken her powers. So that's what the Nina machine is for, that we know so far. Um, um, so we see that Elle starts to figure out. Dr. Martin talks to her through like this intercom thing, and it helps her to like relax, calm down, and focus on what she needs to do, which is work this memory. You feel me? So she ends up starting to figure out how to work this memory, and she figures out how this looping dream works. Um, okay, so then from there, um, um, Argyle, Will, Mike, and Jonathan, they end up calling the number that they found in that pen, and it ends up like making all these crazy like machine noises, and they find out that this is not necessarily a phone number for to call another like human. This is a phone number that calls a computer. So they need to find a way to understand what this computer is saying, the message that it's saying, or even how to relay information back to it, whatever it may be. So Mike says he knows a guy that can help them out that lives in Utah, and then Will puts it together, and he's like, oh, you're talking about Susie. So now they're on their way to Susie to figure out how to decode this computer information that's playing through the phone, so that way they can get to Elle and help her out, or just at least be there with her. um so then from there we see Jason arrives with the football team at Eddie's, I'm sorry, where Eddie is at Rick's house, but they haven't found him just yet, but they're at the same vicinity that he's at now. um Eddie tries to reach out to Dustin to tell him, Jason is here and he's at Rick's. Um, just tell him that Jason's here, but they are too busy like looking for clues at Victor's house. Um, so that's that. And then from there we see Max and Lucas. They have this conversation, um, and I feel like from this conversation that they may get back together, but if not, at least they'll be good friends. You feel me? But he's Lucas is bringing her back out of her shell. You know what I'm saying? Because she wanted to be so hidden because of what she's been going through and everything like that. Like, he's helping her to come back out of her shell. And as they're talking, weird stuff starts happening with the lights. And we've been seeing this all throughout these episodes for this season, that like sometimes the lights and electricity will start acting weird and functioning in a different way. So they put things together and they say, you know, let's cut off all the lights, spread out, and use your torch, like your flashlight, and then we'll follow it that way. And it's kind of weird, but it works. And then we go back into Elle's memory slash dream. Um, and like I said, she's still going through this memory, but it progresses further. So we're seeing stuff that we haven't seen um, with within that memory. And then from there, um, Joyce and Murray, they confront Yuri. They do get the upper hand, but they end up knocking him out. So the plane ends up crashing, and now they, yeah, they're free and everything, but now they're stuck in the snow, not knowing where they're at, no way to get out per se. So it's like it's a bad scenario. Then we go back to Dustin and the crew, and they're still at Victor's house, and um, like I said, Dustin and the crew, they find out that, like I said, for sure, Vecna's at Victor's house, and they're able to, but just in the upside down dimension of it, not in their dimension of it. Um, so like I said, they find a way to follow him with these flashlights, and like I said, it's kind of weird, but they do that, and then they get to a point where basically they get like, I guess, per se, told by the light to go to like this attic room or whatever it may be. And then from there we go back to Jason and the crews and his crew, and they're still looking for Eddie at Rick's house. Um, and then Jason ends up finding Eddie, and Eddie gets on this boat. He's like trying to paddle away, but since he knows that Jason and Patrick are right next to him, like, on land, he's trying to make the engine start on the boat, but it won't. So he just has to keep paddling. So Jason and Patrick jump in the water to try to catch him, and what ends up happening is um, they do pretty much catch up, but Patrick gets attacked by Vecna, and Eddie and Jason see this happening to him. The same thing that happened to Chrissy, the same thing that happened to Fred, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing that was going to happen to Max. So they see that. Um, so I'm hoping that now Jason will realize that Eddie wasn't the one that did that. Then we go jump to Elle, and she wakes up out of her memory because the memory was like getting bad. It was like it was messing with her. And then she attacks Dr. Martin, and then she uses her powers against these guards that try to stop her. And so now she pretty much has her powers back, or somewhat of it. And then she tries to use it on Dr. Martin, but then she can't. And she's like, I don't understand. He's like, I do. And then all of a sudden, she's like, Papa. And then he's like, daughter. And then they just walk off holding hands. So I'm like, what? I don't know. But anyways, that's basically the premise of this episode. Three of my favorite scenes would be Elle's dreams slash memories, going through them, seeing them, and seeing little things that we didn't see before, and then getting introduced to this doctor character that I don't know his name and I don't know his importance, but he's got to be important somehow. Second favorite scene would be Murray fighting Yuri on the plane, bro. That was funny, bro. Murray is a funny cat, bro. Like, he is definitely a funny cat. He yeah, that was comedy. Third favorite scene would be Patrick dying when he floats up out of the water, bro. He first he drowns in the water, then he floats up out of the water, then he gets and everybody's seeing it. I'm just like, yo, like, this is crazy, bro. It's always crazy to see them die like that, man. Even though I've seen it happen to the three people now, it's always crazy to see it, man. But that would be three of my favorite scenes. The grade for this one, it's got to be a 10 out of 10 for me, man. If you guys saw this episode, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. As always, this is Q's Insight. I am Callie. Until next time.